And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I am not a miniatures gamer much at all, although I do like games that simulate miniature games. Love Heroescape, love Battlegrounds Fantasy Warfare. But one of the first games I ever played when in college was Battletech. And back then I bought, I think, City Battletech or something like that. It was a box set that came with some battle mechs and some paper maps, and I thought it was a pretty cool deal. I went and read the books, and this is what, you know, almost 15 years, 16 years ago. But Battletech has been out for 25 years now, which is why they come out with this 25th anniversary set. Now this is a box, and this box is heavy. Here, hold it. Okay, is that heavy?
No.
No? Alright, well you're strong then. But it's a heavy box because it's chock full of stuff. If you've never played Battletech before, this is the box to get. And if you have played Battletech, this probably won't interest you, but there's still a lot of fascinating things inside this box. I really think it's a good value. And so let's take a look at what's inside. Okay, this isn't really going to be as much on how to play as in kind of an unboxing. I'll talk a little bit about how to play. But this game comes with two boards. Now each of these boards is double-sided and they fold up and they're really good quality. The boards are marked. I mean, it looks complicated, but if you can see here, let me put that in this section of a board. You can see when we focus up on a section, it just tells you what kind of terrain it is. There's some numbers on them and it tells you what level. Sometimes they're different levels. The game also comes with a whole pile of mechs. Now, mine don't look that cool because I did not paint them. These are kind of, the game itself even kind of refers to these as a bit of generic style mechs. They have much nicer mechs, and they do include two in the game, but you have to put these together, and you can see that I have not done that because it's glue, and that's something I'm not very good with, and besides I have all these other fun ones to play with. So you can paint them, and that's one of the features of this game, is paint them, and you can buy all kinds of mechs. Whether you buy new models or models that have been made over the past 20 years, there are plenty of mechs that you can buy. And yeah, I know this is anathema to miniatures gamers, but you really don't need to use the specific model. What matters is the mech sheet. Now let me show you the ones that come with this game. You're allowed to photocopy these. There's a whole book of sheets here for lots of different mechs, and you can buy more of these. But I'm telling you, there is plenty. So here, for example, let's find a good mech. A mech that's a fantastic one. Oh, the dragon. Okay, I like the dragon. Okay, and it tells you what kind of mech it is, and you're like, whoa, those stats. These stats are not that difficult to understand. Basically, when you get shot at, dice are going to be rolled, and it's going to tell you what section you've been shot at, and you're going to color in the little circles to show that you've taken wounds. And when you take different hits, there's always a possibility that this is your outside armor. When outside armor, then you start taking hits on your inner structure, and then you possibly will get a critical hit. Then you simply roll on this table to see what kind of critical hit. Critical hits will take out your guns, they'll take out your ammo. Of course, if you get critically hit in the head, they'll take out you. Or your engine, you know, which is pretty bad. And then it basically up here just tells you what kind of weapons you can shoot, you know, and it tells you all the stats of those weapons. This is the only sheet you need when you're playing the game. You have this, and you're going to be attacking other mechs. Now, the basic general gist of the game is you have mechs and you're fighting other mechs, and you can decide, you know, which mechs are fighting whom. And on your turn, you roll two six-sided dice, see what's initiative, and then the one player will move their units first, and the other player moves their units, and then you fire at each other. You roll dice, you're trying to get a 4 or higher, but that's modified by whether you were walking or running or what terrain the target's on, what terrain you're shooting from. So usually it might be higher, 7 or 8. Once you hit them, you roll to see what kind of damage you do, how much damage you do, and there's also distances. There's a short, medium, and range distance, and you see how much damage you do, and it's rolled on that mech sheet that I just showed you. And you try to blow up the other mechs. That's basically it. Now, what else comes in this box? First of all, they have this really nice thing here, how the rule books work. Now don't, I was like, what? There's a rule book on the rule books? But this actually tells you about other rule books. It tells you about what's in this box. But many of these, it shows you the different standard rules and rule books and advanced rules that you can get, and it even shows you some, it's nice. It's kind of tells you about the different kind of scales of play and the different books that have come out over the year. I've actually owned several of these books. So that's useful to have. And then there's a nice, very nice cardstock here that shows you all the modifiers for when you attack and movement and how piloting score affects your thing. But here's the real thing that you like, is quick start rules. These are very short. They're not long. They're not longer than any typical board game. They're, 12 pages long with lots of pictures, easy to understand diagrams. This is not going to give you the full feel of Battletech, but this gives you a lot of it. And you know what? You could buy this, play with these, and be happy. But if you want more, then it comes with the introductory rulebook. Now I'm going to go far here. I know the Battletech people might come and hit me for this, but this is the only rulebook you're ever going to need. I don't think you need to get much more advanced than this. I mean, this has 78 pages. Now again, there's diagrams and pictures and stuff, but this talks about how to make scenarios, how to put mechs, how you shoot, the different modifier tables. It's a very nice book with pictures, tells you about the different engines, how to build your own mech. You know, this is introductory rules, and please let us never see the advanced rules. But it's not that difficult to understand, especially if you've already played some games with the quick start rules. Then you look at this and it's like, oh, okay, that works there. The box also comes with a printing and painting guide, or painting and tactics guide. Now the painting guide, okay, thanks, and that's useful. And then the tactics guide will show you how to use, things that you might want to do, how you can attack the other person, and then how to paint, and use the different mechs. It's really nice, and I wish I could have cut these pictures out and put these in a review rather than my unpainted mechs, because they look really cool. Then these are two things, the last two things in the box I really thought were neat. One is Battletech, the Inner Sphere at a Glance. Now, Battletech is not just a game, it's based on a whole universe. A universe that is as varied and interesting, I think, as the Star Wars universe. A series of books written by Michael Stackpole has been expanded upon by a bunch of other authors. Although I think Stackpole's are the definitives, they're really interesting books. They have politics and intrigue, but they also have the downright battles. But there's this huge political structure, and you need to understand how everything fits together, and so this explains that. Now this takes place, for those of you who know the Battletech universe, right about the point where the clans were attacking. There was a whole pile of houses, you can see here on the map, where space was divided up into different sections, and they were combined, and then a marriage combined the two biggest ones, great stories. And then these clans, they were called, came in and just started wreaking havoc, and the Inner Sphere fought back against them. So they stopped their squabbling for a while, fought back, stopped the invasion to some degree, then they kept squabbling again. And then more happened. So it takes place right after basically the clans were stopped, is where this takes place. And what's really neat is this monstrosity. It is a poster that shows the Inner Sphere, all the planets, the major states. This is just cool. I'm sorry. I know that maybe I'm geeking out a bit, but I thought this was a neat addition. I would have, if I saw this map at a store, I would consider just picking this up myself, but it comes in this box. So that's all you get in this box. If you don't think that's a good value, well then I don't know what you're expecting. Battletech. It's not for board gamers necessarily, and I know that board gamers are a good group of people who watch my thing, but there's a lot of you who may have played Battletech back in the day, and this might bring you back in. For me, this is all the Battletech that I will need. Although, yeah, watch, I'll get some expansion more of it, I'll be like, oh, more stuff. But this is good enough. There's a lot of mechs in there. Like I said, I can always buy more sheets and just use these models. I know the purists will have a problem with that, but there's a lot of models in here. Some of my favorite mechs, the Atlas and the Dragon and the Catapult, and just I love that Inner Sphere history and stuff. It's just, there's such a lot of goodness in the box, and very high production values. The board is good. The mechs are very decent quality. I mean, if you've seen the maps from the days gone by that's good. And you can photocopy those mech sheets as much as you want. So there's a ton of stuff in this box. Definitely worth it. If you're thinking about getting into the system, this box is great for you because they've had 25 years to kind of perfect this system, and they've done a good job of it.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.